Yeah. So one of the things I was thinking about, David, and we've discussed a little bit, is that, and this blends really well. So I think what you just said, so let me see if I can give a summary and you tell me if I'm correct. Okay. Is that the presence of AI is actually creating a lot more jobs. So your example is, so there's less cashiers at Walmart, but there's a whole army of people that are doing the coding, the software, the engineering, construction, building, distributing, shipping, debugging, improving the systems that do that. Now, I doubt that there's a one-to-one. There's probably a little less in that latter thing and more in the former. However, there's no doubt that the pay is higher for those people in this thing because it's much more specialized. So you're saying, AI is likely to move the bottom bar higher, so that there's going to be some more skill required. I agree. And I think that that's an important thing. If you're listening to this as a young person or parents of young people, it may be helpful to think about that. But I don't know that means you have to have more credentials or something like that. There's something else that I think is going to become an extreme strategic advantage. And that is, especially in the short term. So here's the bad side, then there's a good side. Especially in the short term, I think there's unquestionably AI is going to enable people to cheat in ways that have never been imagined before. So you already have some really disturbing studies coming out of the Ivy League showing that the vast majority of Ivy League students would totally cheat in a test if they could, because they think the credential is worth way more than the knowledge. And AI has just made that a piece of cake. David, you and I played with this, right? You can put in a prompt and ChatGPT will write you a 500-word essay on the Boston Tea Party. And then you can ask it to write a 500-word essay on the Boston Tea Party as written by a 12th grader. And then you can ask it to write a B level, in other words, you can change the prompt and have it customized each time to the point that it's basically undetectable. So in the education world, the general consensus is take-home tests are now useless. But you have this really interesting situation where AI is passing the bar exam and like ChatGPT is passing the bar exam and passing the medical boards and just killing standardized tests and acing the ACT and the SAT and all these kinds of things. And so I think it's unquestionable that in the short term, you're going to see an awful lot of people being able to cheat exams and get forward academically, get forward being in quotes there, get forward in a way that ChatGPT and AI allows them to cheat the system. Now, that will be true in the short term, and some of those people will actually probably get gains from that in short term, and there's an injustice of that and a frustration. Now, I think that it's likely that technology then catches up. It's an arms race, and we've seen this throughout human history. And so we'll have AI detectors and all these kinds of things, and society will adjust, and there'll be a short time period where it's easy, rampant cheating is easy, and then technology will catch up, and then it'll go forward again. But what I think this does is it creates an absolutely stunning opportunity for people who really care about knowledge. The ones who actually will learn the stuff. Now, in the short term, they might get a little burned because the cheaters will sort of jump ahead. But in the long term, look, if you didn't pass the bar, you're going to get floundering around when you get in court. You're going to get eviscerated by some judge somewhere who actually knows the law, right? There's only so long you can do that before that stuff comes back. And we would say that that's, from a Christian worldview, that's kind of like gravity. Eventually that catches up to you. Right. So I think one of the real interesting advantages now is anybody who's willing to take the time to teach their child to inherently value knowledge for just valuing knowledge's sake. If that's what you can teach, then you have this tremendous advantage. Your child has this tremendous advantage. I think the easiest sort of illustration for this is that you can make your kid do push-ups, and they can be healthier than if you didn't make them. But if you can teach your kids the benefit of fitness so that they intrinsically want to run laps, do push-ups, do pull-ups, and be physically fit, that is a lifetime worth of benefits. Now, just shift that over to the academics. You can make your kid take the test. But if you can figure out ways to teach them how to inherently value knowledge so they will read on their own, be naturally curious, and have an attitude of constantly learning, they are about to jump ahead of their peers by leaps, bounds, and just tremendously so, because that's going to be very, very, very unusual. It will be like being an Olympian in a room full of fat people, right? I mean, they'll stand out that much. Yeah. And so I think there's a real opportunity there. Yeah, some short-term pain, but some significant long-term opportunity for those who see what's happening and are willing to think a little differently about their educational processes and what they teach their children to value.
Yeah. Yeah. And going back to your bar example there, if there is somebody who passes the bar exam, say that they use ChatGPT to pass the bar exam, once they actually get into a courtroom, they may be able to still use ChatGPT to be able to get some of the knowledge and the understanding and to be able to find the information that they need to be able to actually know what they need to know for being a lawyer. However, being a lawyer is so much more than just being able to pass the bar exam. Being able to pass the bar exam also involves so many other processes that contribute to your ability to be a successful and well-rounded lawyer. And so ultimately, there's probably are going to be some lawyers out there who are primarily just using AI tools and cheating, like you just said, to be able to pass the bar exam and to get into their career just so that they can try to make a quick buck chasing ambulances and whatnot. But what's going to really make the difference is the lawyers who decide not to use that and instead really and truly have a passion for the law and are learning and investigating and really actually, I think I would take a step further, seeing the people that are involved in that too, seeing the human side of it, and are ultimately able to leverage that.
And look, general intelligence may indeed be something that comes down the road, which is the sort of working term for an AI that really does act like a human, like has the processing ability of a human. But it's not here yet. ChatGPT is not general intelligence. And, I think we used the example of Spock and the Vulcans from Star Trek last week, right? That the point is that Vulcans weren't human because they were missing this kind of emotional aspect. And it seems to me highly unlikely that will ever be something that can be authentically or seriously replaced by a machine, is that emotive, instinctual understanding that comes with being human.
Well, hey, thank you for watching this clip of the Alternative Ideas podcast. If you want to listen into the full episode of this podcast, then you can check it out on our YouTube channel here. And make sure that you're subscribed if you find it interesting, because every single week we release a new episode and we're going to be putting out new clips. So you can make sure to get those in your subscriptions box every week.